Hi, everyone. I know I was muted. That's why you guys couldn't hear me. Hello, hello. Hope we're all doing well. Let me just fix a couple things here and then we will get started. And I just want to wait a second just for people to hop on. Okay. All right. So my name is Lily. I am a local Chicago makeup artist, also a licensed esthetician. I am going to be talking to you guys today about makeup brushes. We're going to be talking about the different uses, the different types of brushes. I'm going to show you guys my personal kit and then stuff to clean and then other tools that you could use kind of like brushes as well that doesn't have bristles and like a stick. Um, but a little bit about more about me. So I do makeup here in Chicago, mostly bridal. So my summers are super duper busy, and the wintertime is usually my downtime. I have worked on a couple short films. I've also worked on a show. I don't know if it's on TLC anymore. I think now it's on like Peacock or Netflix or something. I think it's Netflix. Netflix bought them. But it's Married at First Sight. I did season 18. I did makeup for one of the brides. And I'm also a licensed esthetician. So I work out of a spa suite and I do facials, laser hair removal, so on and so forth. So I know a lot about skincare and then makeup as well. So a lot of my seminars are about makeup, how to's, stuff like that. And then I also have skincare um, webinars that I do, Skincare 101 or a little bit more in depth. And then I'm going to be adding more this year, which is going to be really exciting. But again, today we're going to be talking about brushes, which is a lot of fun for me. I'm super excited about this class. I hope you guys are too every time we do it. I am missing a couple of products because I am about to go into my bridal season. So we're going to be doing a lot of trials with brides before the weddings. So a lot of my stuff I have not rebought until I'm going to be doing all of that next week. And then also, I did just work a job this past weekend. So I have a lot of not clean brushes. So just bear with me. Tomorrow's usually the day that I like to clean my brushes. But we're again going to be going through my personal kit and then my professional kit. And then I'm going to be talking about all the different brushes and how to use them and all of the fun things. Okay. So, first, I'm going to show you guys my professional kit. These are just a warning. This is a lot of brushes. You do not have to have this many brushes. I have this many brushes because sometimes I do up to 7 people in one day and all at the same place. So, like if someone was getting married, I do the bridesmaids, mother of the bride, and then the bride. And I have to have a lot of brushes on hand because I cannot reuse brushes on different people. It is not sanitary, so I have to have a clean brushes for every person. So I have enough brushes in here that I can go through with 10 people in my chair in one morning. So this is not all of them though. Like I said, I just did a job recently or a few jobs recently. So a lot of my brushes are dirty, but this is like some clean brushes and there's still a lot, like a lot. So I have them in different sections in this little brush folder of mine. Like I said, this is a lot. It's excessive, but I am a professional and I need this many brushes. So you can't really tell, but there's like three little sections. This one in the back and then in the front. So these are all my little detailed brushes, very small brushes. This is more of my fluffy brushes. You would use a lot of these on the eyes. And my hands are clean, just so you know, I know because I'm touching all of them. This is just the start of foundation brushes, and then I have the same foundation brushes in the back. I use this section for more smaller brushes or short brushes, and then this is for all the tall ones. This last two sections would be like powder brushes, so different sizes of powder brushes that I would be using. Body brushes, meaning really, really fluffy brushes for the body and all that. Just so you know, I do have the chat or the Q&A section popped up. So if you guys want to ask questions or like have discussions while I'm doing this, go ahead and I'll try my best to answer questions as I'm going. So we're going to first talk about like a few sorry, one second. Talk about a few detail brushes that I think that everybody should have on hand. And that would be the first one would be concealer brushes. A concealer brush you could use for so many different things. They look so different. There's a bunch of different types. I'm going to show you a bunch of different types now. And you can use them for concealer. You can use them for eyeshadow. You can use them for literally anything, even body paint, whatever it may be, you can use them. So I think that they're very, very versatile and very important to have in a personal kit. And so this is what they look like. They look like little oval flat brushes, very, very close and similar to what a paintbrush would look like. And these are all different types, different sizes, and different brands. So this is just like 5 I pulled out right now, but there are other concealer brushes that are more fluffy, and I'll show you all of those. But these I really, really love. I call these just a flat brush, like a flat concealer brush. They are smaller than like a foundation brush would be, but it's great for picking up any type of creams, liquid concealers, and it's really great to distribute the product evenly in the areas that you're wanting it. And then you can also blend with these as well. So I think these are very important for you to have in your personal kits. And these are all synthetic hairs, meaning they're not real like animal hair or anything like that. And synthetic brushes usually mean that the product won't get soaked into the brush or the bristle. It will really distribute the product onto wherever you're putting it and not soak up the product. Another great brush to have in your personal kit are an eyebrow brush. So this would be like brushes that have bristles on them. So you can pick up any type of eyebrow powder and then, use that to apply. And then these brushes, are for the eyebrows because they come with spoolies at the ends of them. So this is just a brush that you would use to brush up your eyebrow hairs. And that way, like, it's easier to blend as well. And then another detailed brush that I think you guys should have in your kit would be just like a small, we call them pencil brushes. They have like a pointy tip, kind of like a pencil. This would be a really, really great brush to have so that you can do any details like eyeshadow underneath like underneath the lash line. You could use these for little small areas to apply highlighter. So like in the inner corner of your eye, if you're wanting to put highlighter on the nose. So these are very cool detailed brushes, and you can have one of these. You don't have to, but this is really great to have in your personal kit if you don't have one of these already. Practice makes better, right? So you just have to practice using these brushes and it really will help. Another detailed brush that you I'm pretty sure probably all of you already do. If you don't, for all of the people who wear makeup in this seminar, sorry, one second, let me see. Yes, are eyeliner brushes. So you could use liquid eyeliner, you could use a cream eyeliner, but these are the different brushes, different types that you would use for the eyeliner, applying it, making sure you get that wing, all of that. So I like to use flat brushes like this on people because it's just so much easier to get a straight line. You don't have to have one of these. These are kind of hard to find, but this is what I like to use. And then these are very like old school. A lot of people don't really use them nowadays, but I always like to have one in my kit. And this is like a very, very fine tip eyeliner brush. And then the popular angled brush you want to have in your kit. I'm pretty sure some of you probably already do have it. Okay. And then we'll move on to eye brushes. So I'm sure you guys are very familiar with the fluffy brush and putting on eyeshadow with a fluffy brush. So there's so many different types, different sizes as well. So I'm going to show you a variety. But they do the same thing. They blend in eyeshadow. And you can use certain blending brushes to do certain things. Like the bigger ones are really to distribute color like all over or very lightly to blend it in a bigger radius. And then the smaller ones would be used for something more tight knit. Like if you're wanting to put something darker in the outer corner of your eye, you would use one of these smaller ones because it will contain the darker eyeshadow in a smaller spot, and it will make blending a lot easier for you later. And then these are just medium size, and that's kind of like the same thing that the big one does. Just really blends everything out really nicely. But these are fluffy brushes. And I know that they're different colors, but they're all synthetic. Some companies just make white bristled synthetic hairs, and then some make black. So those are really fun. And I have a bunch more, but you don't need to see all of those. And then we have, I call them, and I've always heard of them to be shader brushes. So it's just to apply the eyeshadow on the lid of your eye, on top of your lid. And you could do that with like an eyeshadow, a matte eyeshadow, or like a shimmer eyeshadow. But these brushes really work the best to get that color on the top of your lid. And this is what they look like. So kind of similar to like a paddle brush or like an artist's brush, right? So this is just a little bit shorter, whereas these are a little bit longer. The longer haired bristles will make it so that it's easier and a little less of like product on the eye, because the bristles are so long. So the bristles are a lot less, they're a lot more loose in here. Whereas this one, they're a lot more packed tighter. So when you're using this guy, you really get a lot more color payoff. Whereas these guys, it's just a little bit more blending. And again, you can use those for like glitters and stuff like that. Like this is a shader brush. So they all look very different, but the shapes are always the same. And usually the names are the same, or like the type of brush names the same. But those are all used for like eyeshadows. I said earlier I was going to show you guys fluffy concealer brushes. And this is what I use for fluffy concealer brushes. And they can be different things. I like to use synthetic haired brushes for concealer that have white and like a darker bristle attached to it. So this is what they usually look like. I just feel like they work better, and then it's a lot easier to get product out of them. I don't know why. I don't know what's the science behind it, but it's just what I like to use. So this one is just a cool shape. And this one's used for like having the perfect size to go right underneath the eye. And I'm pretty sure it's angled like that just so that it doesn't distribute a lot of product all at once. This is more of just like your traditional like fluffy brush. The bristles are very like not like packed very tight. So it's a lot like looser, way more fluffy. Same thing with this guy. So this is very loosey goosey, so easy to blend. And then this just has like a really cool shape again, like it's just good for underneath the eye. And these are really great to just blend out the concealer. If you don't feel like you need a lot of coverage, but you like to wear concealer to brighten things up, you could always use a fluffy brush just to blend it out, because you don't need a lot of packing of the product to make sure that you're covering any dark circles or anything like that. Sometimes people don't need concealer. They just like to look brighter. Okay, so I'm going to move on to complexion brushes, or brushes you would use on the face. I like to use brushes like this for any type of moisturizer I'm using, if I'm not already using my hands. Your hands are your best tools. I say that all the time. And I do use my hands on clients. Obviously, I clean them and all of that. But I like to use these type of paddle brushes for moisturizers and stuff like that, because it's really used for that. They're used for foundations, for serums and stuff like that. So I like to use these kind of brushes. And then a lot of brushes I use for foundation are just like really large versions of those concealer fluffy brushes. So like these guys. So this is just a white fluffy brush I like to use for foundation, sorry. And then these guys are just two different sizes of like that fluffy brush for the concealer. So I like to use this on the face, on the body, and then this is a smaller one for the face. And you're really just like applying a very thin layer of foundation. And then if you want to add more on top of it, you totally can. We have fluffy brushes like these. This I would use for like more bronzer placement, or if I'm just like needing to get product on, because it's very like packed thick. So it will just get it where it needs to be. And then I can use this fluffy guy that is not packed very thick to kind of blend it all out. That makes any sense. But you don't need both. These are just like what they're used for. And then we have the famous like face paddle brushes that people use for foundation. You could definitely use these. I have these in my kit. I use these just to apply the foundation, and then I blend it out either with a beauty blender or with another brush, whatever it may be. But I love to use these to apply product, especially if I need to apply a lot in a very small area. And then we're going to move on to powder, but face brushes. So there are different types of brushes that you can use. There's no real rule, just as long as you're using what you need to blend out whatever it is. But there's always different styles of everything of every brush. You just need to practice using it, and however you're using it, if it works, that's totally fine. So there are these two brushes. They're very small, but again, like not packed very thick so that when you're blending, it does a really good job at dispersing the product very evenly and lightly. Um, and then there are these guys. So this guy is just like a fluffier, bigger version of those. And then I know this has the white tips on them, but I use them for powder. I don't use them for anything with cream or liquid. And then same thing with this guy. Sometimes I like to use this because it has that little tip and it really gets in there if I need to contour or anything like that. And then we have big guys, the big powder brushes, which are so much fun because they look so cool. We have like a big paddle brush. I use this for like bronzer all over. If I'm trying to do something where I need some face powder and I need to do it in big areas, I use this guy. And then we have another one over here. So then there's these big guys too. I don't really use these very often, but they're fun to use. So the white bristles I use for body makeup. Anytime a bride wants any type of glow or anything like that, or needs any body makeup, I use the white bristles because it's just a lot easier to get the product out of. And then anything I need to set, I use the the black bristles brushes. And then this guy that is shaped kind of like a painter's brush, I do use for body glow and body makeup because it's just like so good in a big, like, look how big that thing is. It's really great for the chest area, for the arms, even for behind the neck. When I do makeup and then my brides get an updo, meaning their hair is up, sometimes the back of their neck, because it doesn't really get a lot of sunlight back there, is like a completely different color from the front of her body. So I have to make sure everything looks seamless, especially on her wedding day. So that's just like a very basic breakdown of all of the different types of brushes that there kind of are in the world. Obviously, you'll find the niche ones. That's like the paddle brushes that look like the hairbrush that people used to use. People airbrush. I used to airbrush. Airbrush is not my favorite. It's not made for everybody, but I know how to use it. You can use that. And of course, I always say your hands are your best tools. That's how I do my makeup. I use my hands for my moisturizer, use my hands for my foundation, even my concealer. I do use brushes, but I use my hands initially. But that is all of the different sections and like different types of brushes I can explain to you in my professional kit. It's always great to have a large variety, especially if you're an artist, because you need that many brushes. Like I said, it's not sanitary to use the same brush on multiple people. So you want to make sure you have a lot of brushes. Okay, 1 second. Sorry. Okay. Now for the fun part, I'm going to show you guys my personal brush kit. Very minimal, but effective. And I honestly, I'm going to actually, while we're here, because I did set up a couple links ready for us. I'm going to screen share and show a couple things for you guys because I don't have them in person, but I still want you guys to see them. I'm also going to show you guys this kit that I got on Amazon. So that way you guys can find them and buy them if you'd like. Okay. Okay, so the brushes that I have, this is all that I have for my personal. And this is a lot. Like don't even use all of these, I'll be honest with you. I use probably like 6 of these. Oh, lovely. There's an eyeliner in here. Sometimes when you're doing makeup, you just like throw things places. Okay, so to kind of go through each one, just to show you like what I have in my personal kit, and then it's going to kind of like foreshadow everything I just told you with my big kit and like what you need in your kit. Just remember I use these so they are dirty. I have not washed them this week just yet. I do wash my brushes every week or every 2 weeks. I try to. If I don't, it's bad, but no one's perfect. Okay. So these are the face brushes and then these are the eye brushes. So eye brushes, this brand, Jessup, Jessup, you can get this, what is it, how many is it? 7 brush kits for like $30 on Amazon. Love it. And I like can't, stop raving about it. I have my sisters, they bought the kit and they love it too. So these are the eye brushes. Some of them come dual ended, meaning there's a brush on both ends, which is great, especially if you don't want to hold a lot of brushes. You can get 2 for 1. So each one, so this is like your shader brush I told you about that you would put on the eyelid. This is your fluffy brushes, one small, one large. Your eyebrow brush with the brush on the end, and then the spoolie for the blending and the brushing. And then a smaller shader brush, but you can definitely use this kind of like to put something underneath the waterline, kind of like a detailed brush would be. And then I have other blending brushes with me just because I, for some reason, can't have too many. And I have like a million of these and they're everywhere, but I just have a couple here. So these would be like my eye brushes, right? And I use one of those fluffy brushes to help like blend out concealer. So not all of it's for like eyeshadow. And then I have a concealer brush. This is a really cool brush by the brand. Oh, I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it's called, but I'll look it up and have that name for you guys for next time. But it's a really cool brush, has a really cool shape. The bristles are very, very thickly packed. So like it does pack on a lot of product at once. You have to make sure you're not using a lot. And if you're just using it to blend, it will blend beautifully because it'll just do the job for you. Love this concealer brush. And then these are all my face brushes. So 3 of these are from that, I'm sorry, 2 of these are from that brush set. And these are double-ended, which is great because then I don't have to hold a bunch of brushes. This would be more like powder. So I would use this for bronzer, blush, and then I would use this to like set my under eyes, or you can use this for a highlighter. You can also use this just to blend things out a little bit more. This I use for either foundation or like liquid bronzer or liquid blush on this end. Love this just to like blend things out. Even if I use my hands for foundation or concealer, I can go back in with the bigger side and just do extra blending. You can never blend too much. Trust me when I say that. Just blend, blend, blend your life away. This is one of those larger face brushes, kind of like those fluffy concealer brushes. It has like the white and then the darker bristles. I like to use this if I'm just applying my foundation. So I'll apply the foundation and then I'll blend with that brush. Same thing if I haven't set anything with powder, I'll even go in back in with this and just like if I overdid it with like the blush, I can definitely go in with this and just blend it a little bit because it has my foundation on it. And it'll kind of like blend things seamlessly. These 2, I call these brushes tulip brushes because they kind of have that tulip shape. And then in my kit, I have so many of these. Like these I use to set under eye concealer or to use any type of powder to set in small areas around the nose, underneath the eyes. Same thing with this, very small. Or I use these for like highlighter. You know what I mean? Or I can use this brush to like really blend out a lot of eyeshadow in a very small amount of time. So this is what I use these kind of brushes for. That's pretty much it for all the brushes. Like I said, you don't have to have a lot of these. If you invest in just that like brush kit that I invested in, you can use those, practice. And then if you want to start exploring and buying different brushes from different brands, go for it. But have the foundation down and like, I want you guys to feel like a little bit confident with makeup brushes because I know they're so overwhelming because there's so many and there's so many different types. But practice, and then always you can never blend too much. So I want to talk about cleaning. So to clean your makeup brushes, I use just dish soap. Sometimes I use the antibacterial, sometimes I just use the regular. If you feel that your bristles are getting really rough and they're not soft anymore, I would use a little bit of either coconut oil or olive oil with the soap to condition the brushes at the same time. And when I say a little, I mean a very small amount. You don't need a lot because then you're just making your brushes feel oily. I would be careful if you're sensitive to coconut or you are using brushes on other people. If they have a sensitivity or an allergy to coconut, I would definitely refrain from using that. So I usually use like just olive oil. I've never run into anybody that had any issues, but coconut I feel like might be a little bit iffy. Or you can use a fast self drying solution. I'm going to share my screen so that I can show you guys some of the things that I don't have on hand. Okay. So this is called Cinema Secrets Makeup Brush Cleaner. So it is a fast drying solution. You do not have to rinse this. You just use a small amount and then use your brush and just like wipe it on a paper towel and everything will come out of your brush. But like use a very small amount because the solution is very, very strong. I just use a spray bottle and I spray it on my brush once and then I just wipe my brush on a paper towel or a like a cloth and everything comes out of my brush. I use the Cinema Secrets for like any type of brush cleaning that I need done fast on site. I always clean my brushes with the soap. Like I call it shampooing my brushes. I shampoo my brushes after every use, meaning every time I use my brush on someone, it's getting shampooed after. Let's say, for instance, if I am out and I just did a wedding and I had 8 people and then I have to go do a trial and I have 2 more people and all my like favorite eyeliner brushes, like I'm on a roll. My favorite eyeliner brushes are dirty. I could definitely use the Cinema Secrets to clean them and then use 70% alcohol and let them sit to disinfect. You can use 70% alcohol to disinfect them. And that would be like on the run. But if I'm done with a wedding and I go home and I don't have a wedding till the next weekend, my dirty brushes are definitely getting shampooed in between each use. But this is a great thing to have on hand if you're traveling, just in case you do need to clean something. Cinema Secrets is awesome. I always have 70% alcohol in my kit, also in a spray bottle. I don't usually have 91 or 90% because it just doesn't have enough sit time to disinfect. So the more water in your alcohol, the longer it takes to dissipate. So that means it will sit on that product or that brush longer and then it will kill germs and bacteria better. So I always have 70%. And then a few things I didn't talk about was beauty blenders. So this is kind of like what a beauty blender is. There are different brands. There's different types. You can get the actual beauty blender brand. They are expensive, but you can get them from Sephora, Ulta, all those are online. I love this brand, this Paw brand. You can get it from Amazon. For $10, or I think this is on sale for $8. You get 6 sponges. And what I do, because I try to like spread out all of the things that I have very thin, like to all of its use, I'm going to use it. I cut my sponges in half. So I actually make 12 sponges. So then that way I just have to use one end on each person. So that way I get way more sponges for what I bought. And then this is the brush kit. Hold on. I just want to find, oh, here it is. This is the brush kit. I don't know if you can get it from Walmart, but I got mine from Amazon. It's this one, and I love it very much. It's $36, and it's well worth it. Like I said, if you're not used to doing makeup on it every day and you want to practice more and you like brushes and beauty blenders, that whole thing like overwhelms you, it's great to get like a kit that has everything in there for you. So then that way you don't have to think a lot, if that makes any sense. And then you can always label each one too. So that way it's a lot more helpful for you. But do you guys have any questions for me? Is it okay to use lotion before or after makeup? Before makeup. You don't want to put lotion on when you have makeup on already. If you mean for your body, you can do it at any time, doesn't matter. But if for your face, you always want to moisturize before you do any type of makeup. Your makeup will look a lot better. Any other questions? Any other questions? Like, I hope you guys learned a lot. I did talk a lot about brushes, but fun fact, these are all dirty. This whole thing is full of dirty brushes that I have to clean. That is one thing. The upkeep, if you have all these brushes and you got to upkeep them, that's like a little bit of torture, but it's worth it, especially when you have the security of knowing like you have clean brushes for everybody that sits in your chair. How long does it take to put on a normal everyday beat? Beat meaning like full glam. If I'm taking my time or if I'm having fun with it, 35, 45 minutes, but an everyday natural, like 1, 2, 3 out the door look, just to make sure I look okay and presentable, it shouldn't take you more than like 5 to 10 minutes. But a full beat takes longer. And honestly, it's fun. Like when you get to sit down and get ready and like you're really like doing and having fun with makeup, because makeup is a lot of fun to like apply and to experiment with. But I could take a long time. I could take an hour. If I'm sitting down having fun and like really paying attention to all the details, I could take an hour. But a normal everyday like out the door, 5 to 10 minutes. I'm really not doing any foundation. I'm just making sure I get like a tinted moisturizer on with some SPF, a little bit of concealer, not even concealer, more of like a color corrector. I curl my lashes because I don't like to wear a mascara every day. And when I curl my lashes, I feel like you can see them and I like look more awake. I brush my eyebrows and that's it. So it just depends on what you do for your everyday. If you want to wear more makeup, that's totally fine. That's up to you. I don't know. Time yourself and see how long it takes you. Does costume makeup have different cosmetics than beauty makeup? If so, what is it? Um, Costume makeup depends. So, like, if it's a special effects and it's like a prosthetic, yeah, it's completely different. It's made out of different materials. It needs adhesive. It probably is made out of a certain material that needs like multiple layers of like like makeup paint to make sure everything looks good and blends. For airbrush, because airbrush is used a lot in like costume or like Halloween or like special effects. You can use airbrush makeup for like brides and stuff like that, but it's made out of silicone, like silicone based foundations. Whereas if you are doing any type of special effects and you're needing to spray paint, usually those are alcohol based. So you need like 99% alcohol to activate the color and you need 99% alcohol to remove it. So that way it's literally like waterproof, everything proof. So if you're wearing a prosthetic and like you need to get in the scene you're getting wet or like things are happening, it won't budge and it won't go anywhere. So the only really difference is like, yeah, ingredients wise, I would say costume or special effects makeup is like a lot more intense and like uses intense things. So you have to know what you're doing and how to use them. Beauty makeup is way more consumer based. There are different, obviously, like levels of beauty makeup. You can be super duper natural or very, very full glam, but costume makeup is different. I would say if you're on stage for theater and you're just doing like a makeup look to make sure you don't get like drowned out by the lights, that's more same like beauty makeup. Probably you're using like mattifying products so you don't get oily on stage very easily, or like products that are thicker, stuff like that. Difference in consistency, but there is a difference. It's just like different ingredients and different things like that. But a lot of times, like you won't be using those unless someone's doing it on you. Is face painting makeup the same as costume? It's kind of in the same category. Face painting is like a whole other like beast of its own. The people who do like kids face painting, amazing. I commend them. Like the fact that they can like rock out such an artistic, beautiful like whatever it is on the kid's face so fast, the kid's squirming, and they do such a great job. And that type of like face makeup, the paint itself is made for you to move and do things fast. And then if you're doing like body painting, a lot of it is like airbrush makeup. So a lot of it is alcohol based. But it's like in the same realm, but it has like its own world. I will say that. Any other questions? I've never spray paint, not spray painted, airbrush like done like I've done airbrush body painting on one person once. It didn't turn out that great, but I had it done for me because I was in one of my old mate, like not old, but prior makeup teachers class because I was her model. And that was an experience. I will say that. Like a lot of painting that people do with airbrush on the body, a lot of it's with stencils. And I didn't even know that. So always remember that you can make things easier for yourself. You don't have to like know how to freehand things. Like I could never draw anything for you, but I can do makeup and I can body paint and stuff like that, but I can't draw anything on paper like except for a stick figure. So any other questions before we wrap up? Put this back. Do all brushes work on all types of skin? Like, do some people require sponges better for blending, etc.? No. You can use brushes, you can use like a sponge in the same routine. You can switch off and on. It just depends. Like I used to use a sponge a lot, and then I just realized like over the years I don't use very heavy products, so I don't feel like I need those sponge. I could just use a brush. So it just depends. But anybody can use a brush or a beauty blender or a sponge. It doesn't matter what kind of skin you have. It works for everybody. You just have to know how to use the brush or the sponge. Like I said, practice. And I've kind of taught you what each brush does so you can kind of take it from there. Any other questions? All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I don't know when I'll be on next, but that one, let's check actually before I go so I can tell you what it would be. I appreciate you. Thank you guys always for joining my class. Would you use any of those brushes for face painting or will it require different brushes? Face painting requires different brushes. That I would Google. I'm not sure, but definitely different brushes. These are like too fluffy. You would need almost like painting brushes for that. I actually don't have any more seminars probably up until June. So I will see you guys then. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter for all those that celebrate. Thank you again for joining my class. And I will give you guys my email so that way if you guys have any questions or want to, join different types of seminars or webinars that you want me to do for you guys pertaining to makeup and skincare, I definitely can do it for you. So it's lillyjam9 at gmail.com. LILLYJAM9 at gmail.com. Okay, guys? Have a great night. Bye.